Hey, it's Justina, your linguistic adventurer, and welcome back to the podcast. Today, let's talk about something that's been bothering me for a while. Why do most English lessons last 60 minutes? Not because it's the way to learn, not because it helps you finally speak with confidence, it's just how things have always been done. Let me ask you something. How many times have you sat in 1 hour work meeting thinking, this could have been done in 30 minutes. Why is this dragging on? I stopped paying attention 20 minutes ago? Or maybe you've been in a long class or lecture where halfway through your mind wandered to, what am I going to eat for dinner? Where should I travel next? Do I need to buy toilet paper? It's not because you're lazy or distracted. It's because our brains aren't built for long periods of deep focus, especially when the lesson is passive, like listening to a teacher explain grammar rules. And yet, traditional English lessons expect you to stay engaged for a full hour, absorbing new words, rules, and structures, only to forget most of it by the next day. So if you've been taking hour-long English lessons for months or years and still don't feel comfortable speaking, maybe it's time to ask yourself, is this actually working? So why long lessons aren't helping you speak English? Let's be honest. Our focus doesn't last 60 minutes. The human brain just isn't built for long periods of deep focus, especially when the lesson is passive, like listening to a teacher explain grammar rules. What else? Your brain is already overloaded. We live in a world where we're constantly bombarded with information, news, social media, notifications. So sitting through 60 minutes of grammar drills and vocabulary lists is just too much. Another thing, traditional lessons are mostly passive learning. You read, you write, you do grammar exercises or pages of grammar exercises. Maybe you get a few minutes to practice speaking, but it's often robotic, like filling in the blanks or repeating pre-written dialogues. Also, you're not actually preparing for real life. In the real world, nobody asks you to conjugate a verb before ordering a coffee. Also, you don't have 60 minutes to prepare a sentence when you're getting a drink. In the real world, we communicate in short, spontaneous moments. Yet, most lessons focus on grammar drills instead of real conversation. So what actually helps you speak? Short, focused, real-life practice. The kind that gets you thinking in English instead of translating every word in your head like you are a Google Translator. So why are we still forcing ourselves into long lessons when they don't reflect how we actually use English in real life? So let's talk about why shorter lessons are a game changer, especially for introverts. Now, if you're an introvert like me, this is even more important. We don't have unlimited social battery, social energy. So a 60 minutes lesson feels like a marathon. By the time we actually get comfortable enough to speak, we are already exhausted. And let's be real, we have lives, work, family, kids, other responsibilities. So if English lessons feel like yet another task on your to-do list, you're going to avoid them or maybe even hate them. And this reminds me of something else, the so-called no pain, no gain trap. So a few years ago, I used to go for 60-minute gym workouts because that's what everyone did. Push your body hard, no pain, no gain. And sure, I felt accomplished after the workout, but the next day, my muscles were sore, I could barely move. And after 2 or 3 years of those workouts, I started dreading going to the gym. It felt like too much, too exhausting. And when I think about it now, from time perspective, no wonder I ended up with a terrible burnout and daily panic attacks. no fun. I was working full-time, commuting to work, managing life, and on top of that, forcing myself into long, intense workouts multiple times a week. It's the same with learning English. If 60-minute lessons leave you feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, and frustrated, no wonder you start avoiding them, right? The solution? Short, effective, focused practice. And there's also another problem I want to talk about, the price per hour trap. So are you paying for the time or for your results? So I often get messages from potential clients, and the first thing they ask me is, how much per hour? Not, Justina, what's inside of your program? How will this help me finally speak English? What results can I expect? No, just how much per hour? As if it's the only thing that matters is how long they sit in a lesson. And here's the thing. Most of the people asking this have already been learning for months or even years in cheap 60 minutes lessons because everybody does it. But what about the result? So they still can't speak. They still freeze in conversations. They still overthink every word. They still translate everything in their heads. So what are they really paying for? Time or transformation? So if hour-long lessons were the key to fluency, these people would already be speaking confidently by now. But are they? No, that's why they come to me. But they are stuck in a cycle of paying for time instead of progress. That's why I don't sell lessons per hour, because being comfortable speaking English isn't about time. It's about the right kind of practice. So, what's the solution? If hour-long lessons haven't helped you feel comfortable in English, it's time to try something different. So, my one-to-one introvert-friendly program, From Stuck to Speak, is designed for people like you. So we have short, structured, focused lessons. You can actually use English. No stress, no pressure, no judgment. Results you can see in real life. For example, traveling without Google Translate, ordering food in English without panicking, or speaking in meetings without overthinking, or maybe finally feeling like yourself in English. So for example, my client Kasia, she used to worry about grammar and speaking English. So she joined my classes, short, practical speaking sessions. She started talking, and later she traveled alone to Egypt and didn't need Google Translate. And what she said, I can solve my own problems in English and speak to people. Also, Marlena is another client. She started joining my classes because she wants to improve her English and be able to join meetings in English at work. But what happens in the meantime? She started also watching Peppa Pig in English with her daughter because I suggested some fun real-life practice instead of long, exhausting lessons or doing silly tasks on Duolingo. And now she feels more comfortable speaking English, and her 4-year-old daughter is learning English too. So it's not about how long you study, it's about how you practice. So if you are tired of lessons that don't work and you want to finally feel comfortable speaking English, let's do this together. Message me on Instagram or check the link in the show notes. I have a few spots open and I love to help you finally speak without the stress, without the overwhelm, and without wasting time. And if this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend who's stuck in the endless cycle of long, traditional, boring lessons. So, until next time, happy learning, and remember, you don't need more lessons, you just need the right kind of practice.